Good evening and welcome. You're watching a special edition of the Newsroom. We are broadcasting tonight from the Palace Grounds in Thiruvananthapuram. This is an India Today special on the bloodiest political battlefield in India. RSS worker hacked to death. The 14th ghastly killing in just 1 year. As a vicious cycle of political violence erupts in Kerala, India Today travels to ground zero to report on the bloodiest battlefield of Indian politics. You're watching an India Today special, The Killing Fields of Kerala. Over the next 1 hour, we will look threadbare at the spiraling instances of political violence in Kerala. We look at who's to blame. We've got political heavyweights on both the left and the right joining us for this special broadcast. With me here, live at the Palace Grounds in Thiruvananthapuram, special guest. I want to introduce first the state's finance minister, Thomas Isaac, who's joined us. Thank you so much, sir. Squaring off against him, we've got Sridharan Pillai. He's the former state BJP president, one of the leading lights of the BJP here. With us also is VT Balram. He's a young Congress MLA. Also with us, one of the most respected former Director Generals of Police of Kerala, Alexander Jacob. Let's just start by giving our viewers some context and perspective. Remember, political killings in Kerala have been happening at least since the late 60s. But what we've seen just over the last 1 year is an unprecedented situation where you've got a strong left-run government here in power in Kerala. At that same time, you've got assertive BJP, RSS wanting to make deep inroads into what's been Congress and left territory so far. Just since the time the Pinarayi Vijayan government in Kerala came to power in the middle of last year, there have been at least 21 political killings. 14 of these are members of the RSS, 7 were activists of the CPIM. Now, this is leading to a lot of anger amongst the RSS BJP. They're saying that the CPIM government is failing to provide law and order and that they're not being allowed to build their political party because this is being violently fought off by the left in Kerala.
Kerala, God's own country, is one of the most dangerous places to practice politics, especially if you're from the RSS or the CPM. The rule of the jungle runs politics here, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, blood for blood. Kannur, the northern district, has been the epicenter of political violence, but not anymore. Thiruvananthapuram, the state capital, saw blood being split last week. On Saturday night, an RSS Karyavahak Rajesh is murdered right outside his house. The brutality stands out. The assailants first chopped his hand before stabbing him not once, not twice, till every bit of life drained out of him. What would make anyone kill like this? Politics, they say. Rajesh's family says he was on the hit list ever since he convinced 15 CPM families to switch over.
ഈ പാർട്ടിക്കാരി കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റുകാർ എൻ്റെ മക്കളെ കൊല്ലാൻ വേണ്ടി തന്നെ ചെയ്തതാണ്. അത് എനിക്ക് നല്ല ഉറപ്പുണ്ട്. മണിക്കുട്ടൻ എൻ്റെ മോനെ കൊല്ലാൻ ഇങ്ങനെ പണം കൊടുത്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഇത് ഈ കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റുകാർ തന്നെ, അല്ലാതെ എൻ്റെ മക്കളെ ആരും കൊല്ലൂല.
The main accused in the case, the gang leader, Manikuttan, is known to the people who live in the area. He was known to Rajesh and his family too. His links to the CPM are also widely known. The police blame local level politics for the killing. Rajesh, who started going to RSS shakhas from the age of 9, was the main breadwinner for his family. and now his family is on the verge of losing their home. They've defaulted on loan payments and have been served notice by the banks. His kids, one a 6-year-old and another just 3 years of age, face an uncertain future.
Rajesh was the lone hope of this ailing family. With his parents claiming clear CPIM hand in this murder, now it's left to the state government to ensure fair trial and serve justice. With camera person Jay Kumar, Gopi Krishnan in Thiruvananthapuram for India Today.
I want to show you what Dattatreya Hosable of the RSS and Sitaram Yechury of the CPIM said when we spoke to them in this newsroom face-off.
The criminal party of Marxists, which is in Kerala, CPM, criminal party of murderers, what they say is not the truth. What is the fact is their fact. Everybody is open to see. Anybody can go and see what is happening village after village, district after district. And Pinarayi Vijayan, the chief minister, or earlier chief ministers also from the CPM, they have been protecting their cadre. This is a clear case. Because now, no chief minister would say that yes, my party cadre have been the culprits. This they won't say.
The whole purpose of the RSS BJP thing is to destabilize the LDF government. To destabilize it, and you're going back to the liberation war, so to speak, of the 1950s, when the first communist government was overthrown then. We want peace and normalcy in Kerala. We want a direct democratic contest politically. Come and contest elections, fight, and let the people decide. But that is not a... They want the people to be polarized on the basis of communal conflict, so that will help them in their electoral battle. Here I can show you photographs of 200 of our people who have been killed.
And the BJP has a similar
thing. Now the point is that if they are going to attack us, now I'm repeating this, once you start the spiral of violence, it has its own logic that goes beyond either the RSS or the CPI. But you don't start that process unless there is a political motivation.
RSS says if it is having a political conspiracy, then the question that we ask is that the CPM goons have killed not only the RSS cadre, they have murdered workers of Muslim League, they have murdered workers of Congress, they have murdered workers of the CPI, they have killed the people, the breakaway groups of CPM, and CPM was also ruling in Bengal. Then there was no such thing for RSS there. Earlier, all such talks have failed, unfortunately, because of the CPM's attitude.
The fact is that we've had discussions with RSS, many times agreements have come, but then they go and violate. That is when the whole problem begins. And that is what should end. Who took it beyond the theatre again? It was the RSS soon after the election results came. For the RSS and the BJP, these election results were a big disappointment. They had targeted to enter at least 8 MLAs. In the eventuality, they got only 1. All the allegations are flying around, saying that there was also a clandestine deal between some sections of the UDF. No, leave all that apart. But this whole spiral was started by the RSS and started beyond Kannur. The attacks on the Chief Minister's constituency, later in Kollam, in Thrissur, various other places.
They want to allege that RSS is the reason. If that is the case, why such incidents have not happened in other states where CPM ruled, number one, and why the other party leaders, party workers are also being killed? That is my question.
It is not a question of answering back. It is a question of saying how do you maintain peace and normalcy.
Every time when the peace talks took place on the initiative of some prominent persons, it is the CPM leaders who have been telling that we cannot rein in our cadre. Although we agree that Justice Krishnaiyer, he arranged the peace talk sometime. And after some time, the same incidents started happening. And the CPM party, they said, we cannot control, we cannot rein in our cadre. That is the problem. Now, why the CPM goons are killing the RSS people? It is to see that the lower section of the society, they are coming in big way to RSS right from the beginning, not today, even 40-50 years back. They are feeling that the Sangha is spreading its impact and its influence everywhere in nook and corner of Kerala. They want to see that a threat is created among the lower section and in the society, so that new recruitments into RSS doesn't take place.
This violence and the spree of violence is part of the strategy of the RSS. Please remember, the northern Kerala is an area where there is a very high concentration of Muslim population. In Kerala, it's not because of any eating beef. Mob lynching is because of your Gaurakshak Samitis and the private armies that have been unleashed all across the country. That is what is leading to the lynching. This is a direct political war unleashed by the RSS in Kerala. And every incident starts with the RSS unleashing that violence, and that spiral goes out. How do you control it? It's not a muscular element, it's an element of self-defense. If you are being attacked like this, though if you want to restore peace, the other side must either politically understand and stop this. If they don't, you are unleashing a spiral of violence that just goes out of hand.
Pot calling kettle black. See, they are spreading violence. They are in power. RSS has never been in power, or RSS Swayamsevaks were never in power in any part of the state. They are in power. Why don't they get into these cases and show to the world that the RSS has conspired? There may be some retaliations. 287 RSS Karyakartas have been killed all these years. 13 RSS workers in last 13 months. So if the police is not taking enough action, if the state government is having a tacit support to that, and if the cadre who are without any support, then there may be some retaliation, and all those people have been arrested. And many RSS workers are serving the jail terms. It is vicious circle is created by the CPM. If they who claim that they are for human rights, they are for rights of the Dalits, they are right women, and they are for the democracy and all such things, but from the top of the house they have been claiming all these years. If they are true to their words, they should set in motion a process of establishing peace, because they are ruling there, number one. Then they have been claiming about all these things. Then number two, all these years the past history shows that the CPM has never stood to the understanding that during the peace talks we have arrived at.
No, that is the point. How do you solve it? Either you sit across the table and all of you take the resolve that this will not be done. That repeatedly when we do it, the RSS keeps violating. There was a meeting yesterday, and in that meeting, I mean, if you take the resolve, it has to be implemented on the ground, no? BJP is the political arm of the RSS. Nothing less, nothing more. They are implementing that agenda. Whenever BJP is called in Kerala, they say, we are not involved in the RSS, you talk to them. So the government, the CPM, has talked a number of times with the RSS leadership, and one meeting happened yesterday.
Will you say today that you are open to Mohan Bhagwat coming to you and discussing this matter?
Yeah, let him. I'm perfectly open. Let him come. And the first thing is that you stop your, starting this spiral of violence. And stop that. And then the situation will be normal there. I'm definite that they will not accept such a proposal. What the RSS is fighting for, not the two. I'll tell you why. Because in northern Kerala, where there is a very high percentage of Muslim population, the major force there is the Muslim League. And the Muslim League is aligned with the UDF, opposite us. The turf war there, political turf war, is between the left LDF and the Muslim League. Now, BJP's entry, it tries to seek, through creating these communal tensions, to polarize the society so that it can gain.
And it may take your votes away.
Of course, I mean, they want to take our votes away. They want to do what you call a Hindu polarization versus a Muslim polarization, and that is the worst disservice you can do.
But Kerala.
RSS has already spread its influence in many parts of the state. Now RSS Swayamsevaks are also becoming a political power there. So that's why they feel the Hindu section within the Kerala society, they are the common constituency for the CPM and the RSS. Because although Communist Party, they claim for all the minorities, etc., what is the percentage of the Muslims and the Christians supporting CPM? It is 98% Hindus are supporting the CPM. The Muslims and Christians are not supporting CPM. That is why CPM is afraid of losing its Hindu base in Kerala.
This is a period of what is called the post-truth, where the actual reality is not talked about, but you create a mythical reality, and that is exactly the nature of, it's a post-truth campaign being conducted by the RSS. Yes, there have been killings in Kerala, but who started these killings? Over 200 of my comrades have died from 2000 onwards in these 16 years at the hands of the RSS. Even this current spate of violence, the spiral that is unleashed, began the day the election results were announced. The victory procession of our chief, who would become the chief minister, Pinarayi Vijayan, the RSS threw bombs, killing one of our comrades, injuring many. Some of them are still in jail, recovering. And that is how the spiral began.
I have been reload figures from my side also. That is not the thing. It is not the question of number games. If they are telling that, I will tell how they have thrown petrol on the houses and how they have set ablaze house of houses and how women have been killed. All these things, how they have treated Sadanand Master, who addressed the press in the national capital a few days back at the time of assembly elections. Both of his legs were cut off. And even Rajesh, the recent most killing, his hands were chopped off. It is total brutality. So those things are there. The point is why the CPM is one organization which has developed its animosity towards all others.
So who is the guilty party? Who is the aggrieved party? Is there a guilty party, or are both the left and the BJP RSS equally to blame? To debate this on this special edition of the Newsroom, we've got Thomas Isaac, the Finance Minister of the CPIM government. Also with us at this time is Sridharan Pillai. He's a former state BJP president. Also with us is VT Balram. He's a Congress MLA. And finally, Alexander Jacob, a highly respected former Director General of Police. We've got, over the past 1 year, data which suggests that there were 14 RSS BJP people killed. And according to police records, in the corresponding period, 7 CPIM activists were killed, which is half the number of RSS people being killed. Now, the RSS's contention is, as they try and make inroads into left-dominated areas, the CPIM is using violent means to ensure that the BJP RSS are not able to get in.
Look, one, what is the inroad they're making? The last election, they had this kind of rainbow caste coalition, starting with every caste organization had been pulled in. And they were thinking that they would be able to win away a segment of CPM hopes. They failed. Now, what is this big inroad that they're making into Kerala? Of course, we see that the position has improved. Now they rule Delhi, and therefore they're now seriously contesting us in the state. But they are not of a scale we don't consider that we have to use physical violence to stop them and so on.
Two factors here. One, yes, in the immediate year, the number of RSS BJP people killed has been double the number of people from the CPIM. But if you go back in time, go back 10 years, then actually more CPIM people have been killed than the BJP RSS. So essentially, the left will say, yes, this is brutal political killings, but it's not as if the CPIM alone is to blame for it.
No, just like a football score, we count things. It's not applicable as far as human life is concerned. Kerala, you see, in India, of course, murders are more in other states. communal rights are there, caste clashes are there, so many reasons are there. As far as political killings are concerned, Kerala is now in the top. Within 1 year, 21 persons, 14 from our side and 7 from the other side of the CPM.
And by the way, I asked my party just now from here, and their response was 13 CPM persons have been murdered since this government.
Whatever may be the number, I am for the time being, I am not concerned with the number. You see, what is the political history of Kerala? Our party, our movement, either RSS or BJP, but last 3 decades we are a formidable force in Kerala. Prior to that, what is the position? How the first ministry of Kerala was dismissed by using Article 356? Because of the political murders, law and order situation.
No, but the point that the CPIM makes, Mr. Sridharan, is that there are political murders or there are violent acts in other states. Their charge is because the BJP and the RSS is trying to make inroads into Kerala at this time, you are seeking to give it a level of amplification which one murder would not get otherwise.
That's a very false allegation raised by them. You see, Kerala is concerned, our formidable force, we are working very effectively during the last 3 decades maximum. Prior to that, what was the position in Kerala? In 1957, the ministry was dismissed under Article 356. At that time, whether RSS, BJP people were here. And at the same time, I am pointing out one aspect to my learned friend, minister. Their own martyr resolution passed by the party congress in Coimbatore, that is with me. 256 people lost their life as far as CPM is concerned. Okay, during the last 3 days, may I add one thing. All the people are killed either in Bengal, Kerala or in Tripura. BJP has got first position in all other states. Can you point out a single incident wherein our people attacked CPM
political murders? The BJP RSS's contention is that political murders are more where the CPIM is in power than anywhere else. And in any case of murder, there could be somebody from the Congress being murdered, somebody from the IUML. But the other side, it's usually the CPIM.
It is totally wrong. If you take Bengal or Kerala or Tripura, we are the main force here. Obviously, you will find that one side, we are the... But if you take the whole history of Kerala, say before 1957, about 500 of us have been butchered in various places, police. How many people have the communists in Kerala murdered? Now, after that, when did this fight between the BJP or RS and CPM start? It started in the 1970s in Kannur. How? There was a big strike of BD workers, and from Mangalore, Ganesh BD had left. Strike was going on here. First murder took place in a BD factory. Now, because Kerala, the left became so powerful, now traditional vested interests in Kerala didn't have a kind of stormtrooper base to resist the communists. And BJP provided that, not BJP, sorry, RSS provided that force. And that was a space that RSS occupied in Kerala.
Okay, let me
Kerala RSS has never been, say, kind of anti-Muslim. How many Muslims have you murdered? But you have murdered CPM. We come in your hierarchy only third, yeah. First the Muslims, Christians, then communists. But
sir, I point out one aspect.
Yeah.
This is this genesis in the blood of the Communist Party in Kerala because of the traditional thing. This is the only party in the world which is accepting Stalin even now. Can you point out any Communist Party in the world? So Stalinism is there in the blood of the Kerala CPM. If they are removing it, considering their rivals as political opponents, there won't be any problem in Kerala, according to me. And I would substantiate my contention because 3 of their chief ministers, former, due respect to Pinarayi Vijayan, due respect to Achyutanandan and E.K. Nayanar. You see, 3 of these persons were accused in murder cases in Kerala. So I am not individually blaming anybody. That is a political
idea. Now, our second chief minister, E.K. Nayanar, he was accused of murder where, you know, against the British. There's a conflict between the British police, and the peasants. Somebody died. That was his case. And what is V.S. Achyutanandan's murder case? Well, the fight between working class, the agriculture workers in Kuttanad, who were aggressive slaves against the landlords there. We are proud that we have resisted. And you came on the other side because there was no real force in Kerala to resist our strike.
Leaders are also having the mindset for this political murder.
No,
as far as BJP and RSS is concerned, can you point out a single BJP leader, state level or district level, involved in accused in a murder case? That is a difference. We want peace among the people, and we love the people, and we are preferring the communists also. Let them work.
It was very unfortunate. You should call E.K. Naira, who was accused
not blaming.
Let me get an independent perspective from Alexander Jacob as a highly respected former Director General of Police, because you've got the CPIM blaming the BJP blaming the CPIM. Where does the truth lie? Is it correct to say that over the last 1 year, the RSS has been targeted more often than they've been accused of attacking the CPM?
No, on this issue I don't want to comment. In Kerala, political murders or rival murders is a part of our history. We have the Che Guevara tradition in which for settling a matter, a fellow will go and fight with another fellow and kill one fellow. When one fellow dies, that fellow's cause is lost. So this is the Aramal Che Guevara downwards tradition for 400 years. But in the last 1920s onwards, political murders started. The worst sufferers were the Congress party. The British rulers will take help of some rowdies and kill Congress leaders at their houses. From 1920s, 30s and 40s, large number of Congress people were killed. Political murders were happened. Then 30s onwards, Communist Party came into power. They came to become a big force in Kerala. So the British government wanted to destroy the Communist Party. Then what happened? Cases were foisted against communist leaders. Many of them were murdered in their houses or taken to police lockups and killed there with the help of the police.
Okay, so if we come to
the 1947
present...
onward, situation changed. Independence happened and elections happened, etc. The fight between CPM and RSS started in 1971 after the BD case incident. So from 1971 onwards, we have complete records of the last 47 years. Total number of CPM people lost their lives is 527. All the parties put together lost 442 lives. 442. Marxist Party alone lost 527. And among these 442, the BJP cadre, BJP, RSS, ABVP, etc. put together, they have lost around 185. That is the total figure of the last 47 years. But the last 11 years, you can take the count. Marxist people have lost 47. BJP and its allies lost 40, Congress lost 4, Muslim League lost 5, and other parties, NDF, Janata Dal U and RMB, put together, they lost 8 seats.
To talk about deaths as if it's a football score, and that is very, very unfortunate in terms.
So the total incidence is 104 people got killed in the last 11 years. Each death is very painful. It creates a widow. It creates orphaned children. So it is a very hard thing to see a political murder or a communal murder. As police officers, we go there, see the dead body hacked to pieces, and then conducting postmortem. Then security problem of carrying this dead body till the cremation or burial, which is a very, very painful thing for a police officer. So many of these incidents we have seen.
Okay, so what I'll do right now is take a very quick break, because it's very clear that there are no easy and clear answers. The truth is grey and it's tough to get to. But the most important question is, after the brutal murder of Rajesh, can there be peace? The RSS is bashing on, coming in, trying to assert itself. The CPM holding firm. How can there be rapprochement? Can there be peace? We'll ask this question. The Congress guest hasn't spoken yet. I'll give him an opportunity as well. We'll also get you a ground report from Kannur. Kannur is ground zero of these political killings. I'll get you a ground report from there. Tonight from the palace grounds in Thiruvananthapuram, we're discussing the killing fields of Kerala, the bloodiest political battlefield anywhere in the country at this time. And in a moment from now, I will ask my special guest, what is the way forward? We're joined here by Thomas Isaac, the Finance Minister of Kerala. With us also is VT Balram. He's a MLA of the Congress Party. Alexander Jacob is a former Director General Police, and Sridharan Pillai is for former state president of the BJP. Before I start part 2 of our discussion tonight, I want to bring you a ground report filed by my colleague Shalini Lobo from Kannur. Kannur has for decades now been the epicenter of these political clashes. For several people, Kannur is for the CPIM what Nagpur is to the RSS, the bastion of leftist ideology. Several villages there are Stalinist villages, as it were, where the CPIM holds out in a way that it doesn't want others to come in. My colleague Shalini Lobo went there and filed this ground report.
Pinnarai, a village in the Kannur district of North Kerala. A typical, beautiful, quaint seaside habitat. It is also home to the Chief Minister of Kerala, Pinnarai Vijayan, and is also one of the hotbeds of the CPM-RSS blood feud. Hardly a kilometre from the CM's bungalow stands Narayani's house. The red nameplate on the house reads Karunya, meaning kindness. But this world has been anything but kind to Narayani. 60-year-old Narayani lost her husband Uttaman in 2002. He was a BJP worker and was allegedly murdered by CPM cadre. Little did she know that party politics would return to haunt her 14 years later.
അവര് 3 വണ്ടിയിലാണ് 6 ആള് വന്നത്. 6 ആള് വന്നത് എൻ്റെ മോനെ കൊത്തൽ ഒരുമിച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞു. കൊത്തിയിട്ട് ചവിട്ടി പറമ്പത്തേക്കിട്ട്. പറമ്പത്തേക്കിട്ടിട്ടാണ് അവരെ പിന്നെയും ചെയ്തു. എൻ്റെ മോനോ ഒന്നും പറ്റിയില്ല. ഞാൻ അടുത്തെത്തുമ്പോഴത്തേക്ക് അവർക്ക് രക്ഷപ്പെട്ടു പോയി കഴിഞ്ഞത്.
Remit was a 26-year-old lorry driver who was hacked to death on 11th of October 2016, right outside his house. His mother remembers him as a hard worker who ensured that she and his sister led a comfortable life.
BJP പ്രവർത്തകനല്ല, പക്ഷെ BJP മനസ്സിലുണ്ടായിന്. BJPന്റെ അനുഭാവിയാണ്. BJPയോടാണ് ഇഷ്ടം. പാർട്ടി ഓഫീസിൽ പോയി ഇരിക്കുകയില്ല. പാർട്ടി ഓഫീസിൽ പോയി ഇരിക്കാൻ സമയമില്ല. കാരണം അത്രയും കടബാധ്യതയുള്ളൊരു കുട്ടിയാണ്. ഒരു പാർട്ടിയാണ് എന്നുള്ള ഒരു ഇതേ ഉള്ളൂ. അച്ഛന്റെ ഒരു തെറ്റുകൊണ്ടാണ് അതുകൊണ്ടാണ്.
Narayani holds only one person responsible for Remit's murder, her neighbour and Chief Minister Pinnarai Vijayan.
ഈ കൊലപാതകം ചെയ്യുന്നയാളെ പോയിട്ടുന്ന ഒരു വ്യക്തിയാണ് അയാള്. ഇവര് എന്റെ മോനെ കൊന്ന അവര് ത്രൂ പിണറായി വിജയന്റെ വീട്ടിലേക്കാണ് പോയെന്ന്. അയാളെ സംരക്ഷണമാണ് എന്റെ മോനെ കൊന്നത്. എന്തിനു വേണ്ടി? അതാണ് ഞാൻ ചോദിക്കുന്നത്.
This is the spot where 26-year-old Remit was brutally murdered on 12th October 2016, allegedly by CPM workers. He was hacked to death here and was thrown into the bushes. Now, this horrific incident was witnessed by his mother and sister, who were standing on the parapet of their house, the same house that's right beyond this petrol station under the mango tree. Now, his mother tells us that they witnessed the entire horrible, brutal incident before their eyes. Now, this house is barely a kilometre from Chief Minister Pinnarai Vijayan's home.
Narayani lives in this house all alone. She has no one helping her with anything. She spends most of her day talking to her husband and son. She still has all of Remit's belongings as it is. Many others in Kannur have met the same fate as Uttaman and Remit. India Today's next stop was Andalur. Earlier this year in January, a BJP worker, Santosh Kumar, was hacked to death inside his own house. A man directed us to an old deserted house, partially dilapidated. This was the same house in which Santosh Kumar met his gruesome end. A relative of his took us inside the house.
17 January 2017, Santosh Kumar, a BJP worker, was stabbed in his sleep in this very house. This house has been locked ever since. His wife and children have moved away from this house. But we got his relatives to open up this house and show us how it looks, what happened inside this house. Now, what we found out is that night, this door was broken open by alleged CPM workers. Santosh was sleeping on a bed right beside the door. He was hacked to death, stabbed in his sleep. You still have blood stains on the wall over here right beside me. You can see a few blood stains here. This over here, this, all these are blood stains on this wall. Now let me just speak to a relative of Santosh. Rashmita, Andu Ratri endu evidana?
വാതില് പൊട്ടി തുറന്നിട്ട് അകത്ത് കയറിയിട്ട് ഇവിടെ കിടന്ന് സന്തോഷമാവന വെട്ടി കൊല്ലുകയാണ് ചെയ്തത്. ഒരു കുത്തിയ പാടുന്ന തന്നെ ഓരോ ബോധം പോയി. കുറച്ച് സമയം കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് ബോധം വന്നേരം ഏന്തി വലിഞ്ഞിട്ട് അടയിലെ ഷർട്ടിന്റെ അകത്ത് ഫോൺ എടുത്തിട്ട് ഭാര്യനെയും പിന്നെ ബാക്കിയിൽ എല്ലാരും വിളിക്കുകയത് പാർട്ടിക്കാരെല്ലാം.
Santosh's family moved out of the house after his murder and now lives 5 kilometers away.
Here lives his wife, and along with her daughter. We've come here to this place to meet his wife, talk to her, see what she's doing now, how she's coping with her husband's death, and what's her view on the political killings in Kannur district of northern Kerala.
44-year-old MC Baby was married to Santosh for 20 years. Just before he died, Baby was the last person he called.
പത്തേകാലയപ്പോൾ എന്നെ വിളിക്കുന്ന എന്നെ ഇങ്ങനെ CPM കൊത്തിയിട്ടുണ്ട്, പിന്നെ ഇനി ഒരിക്കൽ ആരോടെങ്കിലും പറഞ്ഞിട്ട് എന്നെ ഒന്ന് ഹോസ്പിറ്റലിൽ എത്തിക്കണം. അപ്പം നമ്മളെ ഒരു ബന്ധുവുണ്ട് പാർട്ടീൻ്റെ തന്നെ, കുറേ ബന്ധുവും കൂടിയാണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഓനെ വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞ് അപ്പം തന്നെ പോലീസ് സ്റ്റേഷനിലും ഓനെ വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞതിന് ശേഷം പോലീസ് സ്റ്റേഷനിൽ വിളിച്ച് പറഞ്ഞു.
Santosh was a daily wage labourer and an active BJP worker. The family often received threats from CPM workers. He was stabbed to death by a group of 8, and shockingly, all 8 are now roaming free.
ഇത് CPM തന്നെയാണ്. അപ്പം ഭരിക്കുന്ന പാർട്ടിക്ക് തന്നെയാണ് ഇതിൽ മുഖ്യമായിട്ട് പങ്കുള്ളത്.
The political murders in Kannur have only risen since the NDA came to power at the centre and the left in the state. 2016-17 saw 10 political murders in Kannur district alone, and there is little chance of the bloody cycle ending anytime soon. With video journalist Alok Das, Shalini Lobo in Kannur for India Today.
So the big question going forward, can there be peace? What needs to be done to achieve that peace, or will the situation continue to spiral? Let me put that question first to Thomas Isaac.
Yes, there can be peace.
How?
One, I think there are elements who are not party cadres, either BJP or CPM, but who are hangers-on, that I would say, who are totally anarchical. That even the parties decide not to have physical.
But they joined your party, some of these.
So
why did you accept them?
No, it's not joining. Yeah, it's a big movement with the support of 40% of the population. So you don't stand. They are not party members or anything. But suppose somebody says I'm with CPM, you don't say you're not with CPM unless he does something grievously wrong. And therefore, I think both parties should take a strong decision, even if there is a provocation by either other side. Let's say by CPM or BJP, no retaliation should be.
No retaliation.
Instead,
what according to you can be the way forward?
This trend is very good, and if of course from our mind, since if there is sincere effort on both sides, this will be solved. And now we started to give a message after the talk by CPM people and RSS BJP people. There was a chief minister initiated for such a move, and after that they were decided to give a message to our cadres both that peace is the need of the hour. For that purpose we have to dedicate such a message giving. We accepted and assured in terms.
Mr. Balram, is the Congress being edged out in mind space in Kerala? Who do you believe is to blame in this vicious circle of violence?
Thank you, Rahul, for coming to me at least now. You have been so late. Despite I represent the Congress party, which is a principal opposition here in Kerala. even inside and outside the Kerala Assembly. Whenever any debate regarding political violence comes up, these are the two parties which are in the front. It's always a blame game between the CPM and the RSS. But I take a strong objection to your depicting Kerala as a killing field. So far, we must appreciate that it is one of the most livable parts of this country. But still, having said that, there is an alarming situation of law and order breakdown here in Kerala. Even the capital city of Trivandrum is under 144 for the last 1 week, which we haven't seen so far in the entire history of Kerala. So, law and order being a state subject, the state government has to take the primary responsibility of ensuring it. We feel that both these parties are equally responsible because both these parties have the same sort of functioning, same sort of ideologies. We can call one as political fascist, one as religious fascist, but both are operating in a similar way, and it naturally amounts to clashes and occasional other violences.
Alexander Jacob, is this really a case of a BJP RSS trying to assert itself in left-held territory, and therefore the CPM cadre obviously don't want them to come into leftist villages and leftist towns?
You see, I prepared a 2,000-page report on the RSS CPM clashes and gave it to the government when I was SP Kannur in 1990. One part was implemented, that is the Thalassery riot scheme. Next time a riot was suspected, we implemented the riot scheme and the riot stopped. In Vizhinjam and Puvar, riots used to happen frequently. So government asked me to prepare a scheme, and I prepared a scheme. After it was implemented twice, there was no further riot in Puvar.
So what is this magical scheme? Now, how do you bring about peace in Kerala? You asked a
question whether a rapprochement can be there. No, if CPM and the BJP state leaders decide, this clash will not stop. Or even district leaders cannot stop it.
It cannot stop?
It cannot stop.
Why
because they are not ordering it. It doesn't happen from the top.
You think there's no conspiracy?
No, we go, whenever such an incident happens, we go into the depth of the issue and how it happened, etc. So from the top, an instruction coming, one counter-attack is required. This much is the instruction coming in the top. Who to be attacked, where to be attacked, all are decided at the local committee.
But the instruction comes from the top.
No. Just our police experience are telling. I am not party to the political operation. Many times we question these people in police interrogation. They say we got an instruction that one fellow should be attacked. That's all. Who to be attacked, where is not given.
When I spoke to
not given instruction.
His charge also is, he alleged that Pinarayi Vijayan himself is involved in shielding this and allowing this to happen. And now you got a former DGP also saying the instructions
from police side we will tell you.
See, it's totally preposterous. The CM is involved in any distance in any of these issues. In fact, he has taken the strongest position that this should stop. And it is he who took initiative for having the conferences and in fact leading to a decision that in whatever the provocation, there should not be a retaliation. Instead, there must be dialogue between the leadership of the two parties. So why you drag him into this? I mean, these are all very preposterous and baseless charges that are being
because this, Mr. Sridharan, is very difficult to prove.
One word to Congress also. My learner friend pretended innocence with respect to his party. You see, I have got records. In the Kannur district, 26 murder cases. The accused patients belongs to Congress party.
During which period?
During the last 50 years. 50 years.
No, 70 to 90.
That's the
70 to 90 you are telling right, not now.
Everywhere they use these statistics. These statistics are deceiving. Let us see the statistics with regard to the last 10 years. Let me put a word. Let us take the statistics with regard to the last 10 years. Maybe 95% of the political killings and political clashes are between these two people. Occasionally, people from our side are also getting attacked. So there might be retaliation at the ground level, but that would amount to only 5%. I can assure you.
Mr. Alexander Jacob, the critical question, in your larger assessment, who is more to blame? Can it be said that one party is more the receiving party, the other is more the party that's to blame?
No. You have to see the operation. Hoodlums and the rowdies and gundas, they move around from one party to another, etc. At any part of the time, they can be found in one of these political parties. They have local rivalries. they will settle this rivalry at the cover of a BJP-CPM clash somewhere. And they will retaliate, counting this as one. So if the CPM leadership or the BJP leadership of the state say we can stop it through discussion, that is a wrong conclusion.
So what is the solution then?
No, in that case, they will indirectly admit that they are also party to organization of the whole thing. They cannot, I tell you as a police officer, even district level leadership of the BJP and the CPM put together, they will not be able to stop it. Because usual hoodlum people in the ground, they attack.
I will tell
what
you.
according to you is the solution?
Solution is that as we did in Kannur, every Gunda rowdy will be listed out, their residences have to be charted out, and the moment of a thing we will go and rush and catch 250 people. Then nothing will be there.
Why is this not being done, Mr. Isaac?
Yes.
Shouldn't there be a clampdown against goons, no matter what their political affiliation?
Exactly. This is the problem. The political
Why haven't you done it so far?
Well, we are trying to do that. If there is not sufficiently done, we will strongly move in that direction. I have no debate on that issue.
No,
any kind of unruly hoodlum kind of elements, they must be strongly dealt with.
Whatever may be the ruling in Kerala, either UDF or LDF, police is not clean, police is not impartial also. You see,
No, but they've arrested those. In the case of Rajesh as well, they've arrested whoever.
Rajesh, you see, I am having 10 judgments with me. Trial conducted by the courts. Courts found that police and political, especially ruling parties, they are joining together, and there was a conspiracy. To inquire about that, they sent the copy of the judgment to Chief Secretary for that purpose.
Okay,
Chief Secretary, then no action.
This is the major problem. The major problem is the political patronage these criminals enjoy. Last time when we were in government, there was one occasion when during the history of Kerala, we were given free hand to police to inquire. That was with regard to the TP Chandrasekharan murder case. The people directly involved in that.
What about the conspiracy?
Even the conspiracy part was inquired, and that was an incident when the political murders come to a temporary halt. And now the situation has reversed.
The one thing which is very clear is that there is a need to broker peace, there's a need to calm tempers, and there's a need for these political killings to stop. And both parties need to rein in their workers. As the former DGP pointed out, there are a lot of criminals involved in this who are trying to use this very volatile situation to settle local rivalries. We will not take sides. You've heard from the left, you've heard from the right. We leave it to our viewers to decide what they make of the bloodiest political rivalry in India. Thank you so much to all our guests for joining us. We're here in Kerala. We'll have a lot more for you all through the day tomorrow and the day after.